So we got it. We are live now. So hi, everybody. I am super excited to be here today. I have an amazing, wonderful human being here that I'm going to introduce you to in a couple of moments. But before we do that, I would like to share who I am. So I am Lisa Casenti. I am an author, a speaker, and I'm an educator. I am also the co-founder of the Breast Connection, which is a virtual support group, and our focus is on breast health, anything to do with breast health. And we really have a focus on people being proactive about their health before something happens. As many of you know, my story, I'm a breast cancer thriver. And I became the accidental entrepreneur during my journey when I was introduced to an amazing biotechnology that not only did it help me as I went through my own health journey, but it gave me my father back. And I'm very passionate about educating people about this on an international level. But something that I love to do as an entrepreneur is to interview and hear the stories of other entrepreneurs that I meet as I network. There's so many amazing human beings in this world, and I think it's important for them to share their stories. And one human being that I think is she is absolutely amazing. And I'm so proud of her. Her name is Leylah Murad, and I'm going to share a little bit about her before she says hello to all of you. So Laila Murad and I, we met probably over a year ago through networking, and I feel very grateful to know her. She is from Kansas City, and she is in New York City now because she is a senior at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. She is studying forensic psychology. Her minor is in social entrepreneurship. She is also an amazing meditation teacher, and she teaches young children who are athletes. She teaches them how to meditate and how this is impactful for them, not only as they are in team sports, but it's impactful for them throughout all facets of their life. And she does this through a program called the Internal Athlete. Leylah is also, she plays professionally in the women's soccer team at John Jay. So she's been an athlete for quite some time. And a couple of other things that I want to share about her. She has a podcast called Colorfully Conscious. And what Leylah is an advocate for, she's an advocate for having a tech life balance, mental health awareness, and fostering a strong community based on finding one's self-worth and recognizing their value. That is so powerful. Her goal is to become a motivational speaker, which she already is, and to travel worldwide by sharing her message and inspiring as many people as possible. So Leylah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. Oh my goodness. And thank you for that introduction.
Absolutely. I am super excited for people to learn about you. Before we start, though, Leylah, I spoke to you about this before, and I think it would be wonderful if we, both of us, put an intention out there in the universe. We'll just take a couple of seconds to do that. Mm-hmm. That we'll put this intention out there in the universe that the people who are meant to hear your words, hear your story, hear your wisdom, that they will connect with you. And whether it's that they are watching this Facebook Live right now, or that they see the recording on YouTube or wherever you end up posting it, that they will find you and be able to connect. So that is the intention out there. And the other intention is that the words that these people are meant to hear, that they're going to flow through you, as they always do. So thank you for letting me do that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And yeah, if you're meant to hear this, if you're meant to learn from this, then you're in the right space and it'll touch whoever it needs to touch.
And I believe that. And our focus here is really going to be about the meditation piece in your life. It's a very big piece. So can we start there? And what I was thinking is that we can just start about talking about your journey towards meditation. So how did you come to learn about meditation, and how has it impacted your life? Start with that.
Yeah. Thank you again for absolutely everything that you just said and just did. It truly means a lot. So I would say it kind of started at the beginning of my freshman year of college. My friend was talking about how she was doing affirmations, and like she really cared about like she would just listen to some meditative music during the day, and I would actually like kind of make fun of her. And I was like, okay, sure, do your affirmations or whatever you want to do. And then maybe 2 years passed, and my sister actually sent me a DM on Instagram about something about college athletes and quieting the mind in order to increase their game. And I was like, this is interesting. I wonder what this is about. So I ended up going to this live Zoom call that was run by who I now work for. The Zoom call was just with a bunch of different athletes, college athletes, who wanted to see what it was like to incorporate meditation into their daily lives, which I think maybe each one of us signing up for this call, we weren't expecting to hear about like meditating and quieting our mind. We just were intrigued about how we could become a better player, and we didn't think it had anything to do with our mental side. So I really was intrigued, and I was like, oh wait, now she's asking to get into a program. Oh, that costs money. Oh, never mind. So I was like, you know what? Well, what if there was a way to work with this person and get paid instead of paying? What if I get paid to learn how to meditate? And I kind of explored that option, and I was like, wait, Leylah, how are you going to teach people how to meditate when you've never meditated a day in your life? So the journey sort of began from looking at it as a monetary value. Instead, I was like, wait a minute, this actually is invaluable and truly priceless. And so once I started actually practicing so I could learn how to teach, it taught me. And I'll kind of leave it at that for a little bit before we get a little deeper.
I love that sometimes we don't realize a path that we're meant to take, and someone shared. It was your sister. Yeah. She said, hey, this person's doing something with college athletes, quieting the mind. That's an aspect of how to improve your skills as an athlete. And you never thought about that. You had thought, okay, ways to improve myself as an athlete is, of course, practice, working out, developing all of those skills. You probably did some visualization, maybe a little bit, nutrition. So people think about all of those facets. And the interesting thing is, when we talk about health in general, people talk about those things too: working out, proper sleep, drinking enough water, putting the right things in your body, whether it's the products that you use, the food that you eat. A lot of people don't think about the mindset. And I truly, Leylah, did not think about mindset until I was given a diagnosis. And I realized that was a piece of the puzzle that was missing. So I love that your sister got you into the room, really, of meditation, and you learned about it. So you've come far, because now you're obviously teaching children about meditation. But can we talk a little bit about, I think it's so important, about the mental health aspect. So just kind of as you started to learn about meditation, how did you see that this was linking to your mental health? What were some of the changes that you were seeing? And maybe you can even talk about how you started meditation. Like, actually, let's start with that. How did you start?
Yeah. So mental health, there's so many different ways. So how did I start? I started by doing maybe 5 to 10 minute meditations at most. When you're beginning, it's really hard. Some people genuinely, that's why they stop, is because they find themselves that they can't sit with themselves for 5 or 10 minutes. That's something that's very hard for them to do, and it's very understandable. I had a very hard time doing that. So if I meditated for 5 minutes, I would consider that a success. Like, I was like, okay, I can do it. And then slowly you add a minute, just be like, okay, well, what if I did 6? Let me challenge myself if I did 10. But at the same time, I couldn't beat myself up and like be very harsh on myself if I couldn't make it to that 10-minute mark. It is definitely a practice. I started out with 5 minutes, and then it sounds kind of bad, but like once I started, I kind of got addicted to it, because I was like, wait, I like the way this makes me feel. And it's interesting that you touch upon mental health, because I was diagnosed with ADHD about 4 years ago, and I was taking medications and this and that, but I really wanted to shift my focus away from taking medications every day. And interestingly enough, once I started meditating, I figured I didn't need the medications anymore, because the meditation was my medication, and that helped me quiet my brain. That helped me focus. Okay, Layla, what are you thinking about right now? What needs to get done? Oh, maybe you don't need medication, you just need discipline. Maybe you don't need medication, you just need to focus. You just need to get to know yourself. And the beautiful thing about meditation is that I can truly say, once I started meditating is when I started to get to know myself. And some people are confused by that, and it's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, once you sit down, which also there's many different forms of many different forms of meditation, such as going for a walk. Once you spend intentional time with yourself, you start get to knowing what's going on up here. How do I think? Why do I think like this? And you just get to, it is kind of overwhelming in the beginning, 100%, because you're like, whoa, you're actually tuning into what you're thinking about. And it really did help with my mental health, because I started to learn what I was thinking about repetitively, the negative beliefs I had about myself, what made me think a certain way. It makes you start questioning everything that you think about. And that does kind of sound intimidating. However, it's so liberating as well, because you get to know yourself, and once you get to know yourself, you can understand others as well.
That I love that way of thinking about meditation. I don't think I've really ever heard anyone say that, but it makes sense, because if you think that you are just, we've got this dialogue going on all the time in our brain, and a lot of it, like you said, is negative. So you were just being mindful of it. Okay, what are these negative thoughts? Why do I think them? How can I change them? And I think that's, even though you did say it could be a bit intimidating, I think awareness is the first step to doing anything, to making any changes. It's about the awareness. So if you're aware of what is the dialogue happening in your head, you can address it. And like you even talked about, I love how you have this internal dialogue and you're talking to yourself and you're saying, Layla, what's something that I can be doing now? I love that. And sometimes I just stop myself in my in my tracks when I'm thinking. And if there's repetitive negative thoughts, and I do that too, I'll say, Lisa, or sometimes I'll say, thank you for sharing. And then sometimes I'm a little bit not nice to that internal dialogue. And I'll say, now shut the F up. And I really think that in my head, just to jog myself and, okay, what's something that I can be happy and grateful about right now? What can I celebrate and say yippee to? And I think if we stop ourselves, that's really important. Okay. And thank you so much for sharing about your diagnosis. I think that there is something I wanted to mention about ADHD, but I think people being vulnerable and sharing their diagnoses, not that you have to, but I think it really is helpful. And I know that I spoke to a mom she's very much an advocate for mental health awareness, and suicide prevention. She is the founder of Nate's Hope, and her son Nate had been diagnosed with ADHD, and he committed suicide. And it was from that she grew Nate's Hope. And I can put her information in the chat if people would like to connect with her. She's really a remarkable person. She right now is on a mission to share. I don't know if you know this, Leylah, that people who have been diagnosed with ADHD, there's an increased chance that they will attempt to commit suicide. And I don't know if you know that, but I think just having that awareness and putting it out there, and that's why I want to share Monica's message, because I think that people need to know that is one of the diagnoses. But I'm so happy that meditation has been something that you found. So you started with 5 minutes. And what was the first thing that you did? Is it the partner that you work with that kind of taught you the steps? So what was kind of your first activity when you said your first day that you meditated? How did you do it? What did you do?
Yeah, so she actually provided me with some, I think it was her own voice. And so I sat down and I listened, and this was just mindfulness is key. It was just a very mindfulness focused meditation, had some deep breathing in it, and I was just sitting in my bed, and I pressed play, had the 5 minutes going, and then I just kind of went through the motions. And when you first start meditating, I think people assume that, okay, the goal is to quiet the mind and to not think any thoughts at all. And it's like, you're going to be thinking thoughts. Of course, it's just really the awareness, like you mentioned. It's the awareness that you can now be the observer of your thoughts and like watch them like you're watching the sky and watch the clouds move. Like each of your thoughts is a cloud. So you're just observing the cloud. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm thinking this one. Oh, wait, now I can refocus. And it's just a continuous practice of refocusing and observing. And that's really, because I know I was like, oh my gosh, wait, I'm supposed to be quiet. My mind's supposed to be quiet. And then I was like, I'll try again.
But like you said, it's not about your mind being quiet. We know that there's everything going on in the background, but it's kind of, I like the analogy that it's like looking at the sky or clouds in the sky. You're seeing your thoughts and you're able to respond to it. So that's beautiful. I just want to take a moment to say hi to a couple of the people that are on. And I know Vivek is watching from India. Carrie Ann Knight is watching from Brooklyn. And I think there are a couple of others. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here and supporting Leylah as she's giving us this beautiful wisdom. And I think it's absolutely incredible. So may I ask what your typical day, like when you incorporate meditation into your typical day, what does that look like for you? And I know that you've been doing this for quite some time, so it's not going to look the same for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So genuinely, sincerely, the first thing I do when I wake up, well, I turn my alarm off. I turn my alarm off and then maybe give myself 1 or 2 minutes, grab my headphones, which are underneath my pillow, plug them into my phone, and I meditate. Unless I really have to go to the bathroom, then I'll get up and go to the bathroom and then come back and put on and then start meditating. But it is truly the very first thing I do when I wake up, sincerely. I try to do, depending on, if I'm running late to class, if I have time today, that's based on how long I meditate for. So I definitely don't do any less than maybe 10 minutes a day. Sometimes I need more than that. Sometimes I maybe can only really do 5. So, but yeah, literally the first thing I do when I wake up, because I also find it helps me, like the days that I think I don't need meditation and that it's okay, I can skip it. That's actually the days that I need it most. So I found that it's just now it's a habit. It's a part of my daily ritual. It's something that I do daily. And so that's really what my days look like. As soon as I literally wake up out of my consciousness, I try to go back to my unconscious and I'm like, okay, let's ground myself before I even put my feet on the ground.
I love that. And one of the people that I want to introduce you to is Rob Florio. And I don't know if he's watching, but he is a dear, dear friend of mine. And he had a spinal cord injury at the age of 14. Mm-hmm. And it's 25 years after his accident. I think I'm getting that right. I might not be getting it right. But so he has a lot that he deals with on a daily basis. But meditation for him is one of those components. He's created this whole meditation group that they meditate, people meditate together, and he talks about how healing it is and how different it is to meditate when you do it in a group. It's a different energy. So I do think that it's a great idea for someone when they start to do it kind of solely, to do it alone and then maybe in a group. But he's always telling me that this is something that would really benefit my life. I've had lifelong anxiety and depression, and many people who know me know this, and they'll say, but you always seem happy and everything. But anxiety is a daily thing. It's something that I deal with on a daily basis. And I do think incorporating meditation would be so helpful. I love that you're doing this with children. I want to talk about that now because it's right now, I think I've mentioned to you about my daughter. My daughter's 4 and she has a lot of anxiety. And so I work with her on giving her tools that she can utilize throughout the day. And so I'm doing some visualization, and I have a book that talks about, I don't remember the name, but it's everything from teaching her how to breathe, pretending her belly is a balloon and all of that. So she's 4, so we're really starting with the basics, but I think that I want her to have the tools that I did not have growing up. And it was just, people thought, she's a worry wart, or she's a really shy kiddo. We didn't talk about anxiety. We didn't talk about mental health. But tell us about how you are teaching these children in your program that you've partnered with Sam. So it's called the Internal Athlete. So tell us about the ages of the kids that come to you and how you start teaching them meditation.
Right. And thank you so much for sharing your story as well. And it's so beautiful to even hear that you're teaching your 4-year-old how to envision her belly like a balloon. Like, that's more than you'll ever know. And that's something that we even teach to the college athletes. So I just want to say that was beautiful, and thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you. It doesn't mean I want to be better at it, but I want to hear what you do with kids. So what are the ages? Ages of kiddos that come to you?
Right. So we really try to work with actually the youngest I think we have right now is they're in fifth grade. So really we try to do our best not to work with anyone younger than the age of 10. However, that really, because the concepts that we discuss are very complex and kind of get more sciencey and complicated. And so minimum age 10, maximum college age students. Well, that's actually changed because we actually have in the current group that we actually have a current NWSL soccer player. So she's on the women's professional team and she's learning, and it's super cool. So really any athletes of any age over the age of 10. But yes, it's called the Internal Athlete. It's a 10-week program. We recruit, we have sales calls, we talk to the child and their parents if they're under 18 and they feel comfortable. If they're over 18 and they feel comfortable enough, coming to the sales call and talking about everything and anything, then, it can be just them or them with their parents as well. And we get to know them and see if they're a good fit. And so we tell them, this is a 10-week program. You're going to meditate with us 1 hour of the week, usually about Sunday evenings we found is the best time that works with everyone's schedule because we're very busy. So 1 hour Sunday evenings, we give you a meditation during the call. We give you a journal during the call and for the rest of the week. So you will work on that meditation and that journal through the rest of the week. And you get a super cool sweatshirt that says Own Your Energy. And we develop this sort of close-knit community where we are meditating together and that energy is beautiful. So yes, I love to hear when groups meditate together. But yes, anyone who is looking to, if they suffer from confidence issues or performance anxiety or anything, people don't realize, sometimes there's a moment, there's a memory, and that gets stored in the back of your head that affects your playing times from maybe when, I'm going to use a soccer example because I'm a soccer player, but if I missed a game-winning goal when I was in 7th grade and now I wonder why I choke up and get so nervous every time it's the finals and I feel this immense pressure on me to score, and I think that's just normal, but it's actually from when I missed a goal back in 7th grade that could have won the whole game for everybody. And so we dig deep and we realize, let's talk about some of the things going on in here. And so how can we make you a better performance? How can we enhance your performance on the field using meditation? And it's beautiful, honestly, to hear the feedback from the parents, like, oh my goodness, my daughter is so much more calmer. She doesn't yell at me anymore. When the ref makes the wrong call, I see her taking deep breaths and walking away versus ready to start a fight. And it's beautiful, hearing, especially from the athletes themselves and also the loved ones of them being like, thank you so much. My daughter is a completely different person after this program. So yeah, I hope that wasn't too much.
No, I want to hear this from you. I think I love that. You understand that when you make a difference in the life of a child, that you're impacting them for the rest of their lives. So being able to teach children these instrumental skills, and it might be that they came to you because they're playing soccer, basketball, whatever, field hockey. I don't know all the different sports. It doesn't really matter what sport it is. It's just that these are skills that can carry over to them throughout everyday life, and how powerful that girl can walk away when the ref makes the wrong call and not let it impact her. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, in terms of our control, we only have control over our actions and our responses to things. That's it. We have no control over what the ref is going to do. We don't have control over when things happen in our lives. But if you can just say, okay, let me take a moment, let me take some deep breaths, let me think about this and stop myself right now before I take an action that can't be taken back. Mm-hmm. That is powerful. And I think it's beautiful that you're teaching young kids. So at 10, I understand they have the cognitive capacity to an social emotional capacity to be able to share these vulnerable pieces of themselves. And I think that's wonderful. And just being able to do it as a team must be really powerful. And I'm sure it brings the kids closer together if they're doing it as a team. So I love that. Really love that. What have some of the children said to you? Like, have the children given you feedback and said, I used this before I had an exam, or I used this for this? Like, have they given you specific feedback and saying, this has impacted me in other ways of my life?
Yes, because, this is a tool. It is a tool. I like to advertise it as a secret weapon, because it's like, what if I told you you have the power and the ability to really do anything you want, but to lessen your anxiety, to build your confidence, to increase your desire for whatever it is you want to do on or off the field, right? So I even use this, and what I've heard feedback from is from the students, they're like, I have tryouts and I was really, really stressed about tryouts or a big exam. And I meditated for 5 minutes, and we kind of touched upon visualization, because that is big. We can use that in meditation as well. So I visualize whenever I am feeling anxiety coming up, like, oh my gosh, I have a game in a couple hours. Can I sit down and see myself playing really well? What does the field smell like? What do my feet feel like on the floor when I'm on the field? What does that air feel like? What does it smell like? And using your senses and engaging and visualizing yourself in that moment. And they're like, I'm so grateful, because I just, for at least a brief moment, my anxiety is gone, and I'm more calm, and I'm not like freaking out and super stressed. And when you really learn how to work with and get to know your central nervous system that controls all your nerves, it makes a big difference in your life. And it's just, I love hearing them say, I meditated today and it really helped me. I meditated before I went to bed, and I wasn't overthinking every thought I had to do tomorrow, and I was able to focus on my sleep, or it helped me sleep, or it helped me, not be so reactive, because I had anger issues actually, and I'm now learning to calm them, and I have a healthy outlet to express and let go. And it's truly beautiful, and I love hearing the feedback, and I will send you like some of the reviews and testimonies, and it's so cool. It's so cool.
I would love to share that and attach it to the recording. I just want to check in and just let you know that is it EJ Murad?
EJ, yes, that's my mom.
Oh, okay. Well, hi, Mom. I'm so happy that you're watching, and I know that you're so proud of your daughter. She is an amazing woman, and I see her just having a huge ripple effect around this world with what she's doing. You are incredible, Leylah. You really are. A few more questions before we go. So tell us about your podcast. So I know it's called Colorfully Conscious. How can people find you?
Yes.
So, and tell us about what you talk about on your podcast.
Yes. I could honestly talk to you all day, Lisa. Like, seriously.
I could talk to you all day too. We could keep talking. I don't know if people will be watching, but we may.
Yeah, so I do have a podcast. It's called Colorfully Conscious. I randomly started it one day and I was like, I want to have a safe space to reflect and release and talk about literally anything I want to. So one of the main topics, and you can find me on anchor.fm, that's really Colorfully Conscious. I'm on Apple Podcasts, I'm on Google Podcasts, I'm on Spotify, really on most podcast platforms, but the Colorfully Conscious podcast is really just to make people sit down and kind of reflect on their consciousness in a colorful way. What does that mean? I like to talk about, I have an episode on ADHD actually, and I just like to talk about things and topics that make people reframe their consciousness, or at least think about things in a different way. I think the most recent episode that I just talked about was your intentions versus actions. So I hear the saying all the time, it's the thought that counts. And I'm like, I started to really think about that. And I'm like, is it because you told me I thought about buying you a really nice, I don't know, breakfast today, but I actually didn't. And I was like, oh, I just really talk about anything and mostly topics that I know people reach out to me and be like, hey, can you talk about this topic? How to build confidence, how to do this, because I'm scared and I want someone to talk about it, even though I don't have the confidence to talk about it. And I'm like, yeah, sure, bring it over. I'm not afraid to talk about what needs to be said. So yeah.
I love that. And I actually, it's interesting. It's the thought that counts. I agree with you. It's actions. And myself, I tend to be less action based, if you could believe it or not. If you do my personality profile, it's like I overthink, I need lots of data. So action is kind of the last thing. And also perfectionism comes into that, right? You're slow to act when you want to be perfect. So I kind of, once I became a mom, I was like, oh, perfectionism goes out the window. You don't realize you just can't. You can't do that. And you get nothing done. So I'm more towards action, but I still struggle. But yeah, it's all about the action. It's about just do it. Just do it. Do it scared. Do it with fear. Just get it done, and you'll be fine. So I love that. So Colorfully Conscious podcast, where you can talk about anything, including taboo subjects, which I think that is amazing. And a couple of other things. How can people get in touch with you? You have a really huge following on Instagram. I just have to say, you've huge. So I know that's one way, but tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so if you do want to follow my Instagram is Colorfully Conscious, actually. You can, if I send you a link to my website, would you like post it?
Of course.
Okay, cool.
Yes. What is it? What is the name of your website?
Okay, wait. Well, I mean, hold on.
Oh, you can tell me later, and we'll absolutely.
Okay,
and perfect. So, and if anyone has trouble with any of the links that we put in for Leylah, just reach out to me. I will track her down for you. So no problem. So you've given us so much. There is one last thing, and really we could talk all day, but for the person that just wants to start and is watching this right now and saying, I definitely can get so much out of, I'm getting so much out of what Leylah's saying. So much of this resonates with me. How would you recommend that they start? I know you talked about doing meditation for 5 minutes. Is there like a guided meditation that you really like? Is there a person you follow? Can you give someone a direction to go?
So one that always I can always count on, it's called Trigger Protection Mantra, and it uses sound bowl healing. Even if YouTube has endless, even if you go to YouTube and search sound bowl healing meditation, 5 minutes, there's some that's like 3 hours, like just finding a little, if you need to set a timer. It's called Trigger Protection Mantra by Janae. And I love that one. Another person who I've come to admire their meditations, and she also has a podcast. It's called Tara Brock. She's a meditation teacher herself, and she also has a podcast. And just her voice, I love her voice. It really soothes me and guides me. Yes. But, even, and this may sound silly, but even just going for a walk without your phone and just taking yourself out on a walk, that's meditation. Being anything in the present moment, when you find yourself, really not thinking about the past or the future and just being here, you're meditating. It's truly about being in the present. And so if you feel uncomfortable with sitting down for 5 minutes, can you go on a walk for 10 minutes and get some vitamin D as well as exercise? And now you're meditating, So if that is sitting and relaxing, and if you don't have a comfortable space where you feel a quiet space where you feel like you can we take it outside? That's what I would suggest.
I love that. And about being in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely something that I work on every single day. And I think children, animals, and nature hone you in on the present moment.
Yeah.
So much. My daughter definitely does. She definitely does. But I love that. And a couple of other things I just wanted to shout out and say hi to Diana Parks and my amazing cousin, Jen Sinnott, who has a lot going on at the moment. So sending lots of love to her and the whole family. I'm so excited that she was able to join us. And hopefully you brought some peace and calm to everyone here, Leylah. But any parting words of wisdom that you could give people before our time ends?
Yeah, I just want to say, everywhere I go, I want just people to know that you're not alone. I don't know what you're going through. I don't even know your name. But I want you to know that you're not alone and you're supported more than you will ever know. And, if you've always wanted to try meditation, but you've never knew how or like where to start, just taking one small step is better than not doing anything at all. So yes, I just be gentle with yourselves. It's not easy out here existing, and I'm just grateful that each and every one of you exist. And yeah, that's really what I would have to say.
Leylah, so beautifully said, and you really speak from the heart. I think we might have to have another conversation. We'll come back. Yes, and the reason being, we could keep talking, but I feel like let's let all of this kind of sink in with everybody right now. And I think everyone is in agreement, but I would love to have you come back and really dive more into this. This is something that, with everything going on in the world, I think just being around people like you, Leylah, who are giving people tools that can really impact their life, and just telling people that they're not alone, and that we know that sometimes things are really hard, and that we understand and how connected we all are. And Leylah's putting some things in the chat that I'm going to share. So I will share all of this, but I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Leylah, for taking time to be with me and to share this with everyone who's watching and everyone to come to see this on recording.
Thank you. I'm so happy y'all could listen, and I hope you took something, a little snippet. If anything resonated, then perfect. If it didn't, well then, oh well.
You know what? You're finding your tribe right now, and if people are still watching at this point, they are your tribe. So just know that there are many that your story is going to resonate, and it's so powerful. And just keep this in mind, everyone. You all have a powerful story that is just yours to share. And by sharing it, other people are going to get so much from it, just like how Leylah has shared today. So we are saying goodbye, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much for your time. It's one of the most precious things that you can give to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Many blessings to everyone. Thanks again, Leylah.
Thank you.
Oh, I love that. A heart. A heart. Now let's see if I can actually stop the live stream, and I can.